Hi, I'm Sarah and I am Functional Rustic. In this week's DIY tutorial from Functional Rustic, we're learning how to take old t-shirts and turn them into rope toys for cats and dogs. This video actually goes with a written tutorial. In the written tutorial, it explains how to cut up the t-shirts. This video is going to demonstrate how to assemble the actual product. So, move this out of the way. What we've got here are 3 strips. These were cut out of t-shirts that I was going to donate to Goodwill. So as you can see, I went from, this is the bottom of the t-shirt, and this strip went all the way up to the collar of the t-shirt. So to get started, I'm going to take 2 of these and tie them together. See, now I've got a knot here. Tighten that up nice and tight. This is going to be used as a toy for an animal to chew on, so we want to make sure that all the knots that we tie are secure. Now I'm taking this 3rd piece and I'm just going to attach it to these 2. There we go. Get those knots together. Just a single knot for now. Tighten it together, and now as you can see, I've got these little things hanging off here, and all I'm going to go through is tie them in individual knots to one another, and this just makes it more secure, and it also makes the knot part bigger so that it's easier for you as the human to hold it or for the animal to grab onto the other end. So I'm just going through and tying all these up. Leave the red one out. All right, and now we've got to get started with braiding. Now, we want this to be a really tight braid, so I want to be able to pull on it, so I'm going to take this and wrap it around my toe so that I'm able to tug real hard on it. You don't have to use your toe. If you've got a stick or something you can put it on, that works just fine too. So what we've got to do here, got my 3 different strands. Now the way a braid works is we're just going to cross them over each other. So to start, I've got this red one. I'm going to cross it over the green one and tighten it. Now this is tightening onto my toe, so I don't want to do it too tight because I don't want to cut off the circulation, but I do want to make sure that it's tight enough that I can get the braid started. And now I'm taking the blue one and putting it over the red. Cross over again. If you'll notice, I'm just going to kind of keep crossing and tighten. Once this first part of the braid is tight, I'll be able to move a lot quicker. But until it is, I got to be careful because it is on my toe. I don't want to hurt my toe. Alright, it feels pretty secure up there, so now I'm just going to go through and I'm going to keep braiding, and each time I pull it over, I'm going to tighten it up. Tighten, cross over, tighten. Excellent. Now the reason why we want to do it tight is that our little 4-legged furry friends that'll be chewing on this, their canine teeth will go through the in between here unless you make it really tight, and once their teeth go through, it makes it a lot easier for them to tear it apart. Now the strips that I'm using for this toy are actually pretty thin because I wanted it to be an appropriate size for the cats to be able to use, but if you wanted a thicker toy for a larger mouthed animal, just cut bigger strips. All right. Now, as tight as this braid is, and it's pretty tight, I am still going to want to put some knots as I braid down there, and that's just to help secure the braids in place and ensure that it stays as rigid as possible, which is good for the animal when they're tugging around with it. All right. So I'm about, I don't know, 2-3 inches down. And what I'm going to do is tie them all together. Take these strips and tie them. See, as tight as this is, I can let go of it completely and the braid still stays secure. That's how you know that you're tying the braid tight enough for this project. So I've tied the blue and the green together. Now I'm going to tie the red and the blue. And then the red and the green. Excellent. All right, so I've got a decent sized knot here, and I can just proceed with the braid as I go down. I actually want to make it a little bit bigger, so I'm going to tie them all together again. And this is just my personal preference. I like to have a bigger knot up here. And now also, because I use these thinner strips, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but there is some tearing happening in the t-shirt, and that's to be expected. That's because I'm pulling on it really hard. But as long as you cut your strips to be at least an inch thick, they shouldn't be tearing in half. And you know, if it tears a little bit, you just braid it in. All right, so now we go back to the braid. Again, just crossing, crossing, tighten, cross, tight. This is a great activity if you want to keep your hands busy. Put on a movie, get some crafts done. Perfect stocking stuffer. Or if you just want to have gifts laying around for those impromptu special occasions, you can give it to the dog or cat lover in your life. It's just a fun little thoughtful handmade gift. I like using the different colors. So in this case, cutting up 3 different t-shirts so that the colors stand out more. I've got other toys where I used all one t-shirt, and I mean, they're fine, but if they don't pop as much. And if you see there's some white that's coming through, that's because one of the t-shirts, it looks like it's the red t-shirt, had writing on it. Oh no, and the green one as well. Hey, look at that. So it just adds a little extra touch and makes each one that you make extra unique. All right, so we're at a point now that we're up to tie another knot. So here we go. Tighten that. Got the red and blue. All right, when I started, all of the shirts were approximately the same length. As you might be able to see, as I'm tightening it up, some are longer than others. That's going to be fine. It actually works out well in the end when we start tying all the ends together, but that just happens because all of the t-shirts are made of different materials, and the ones with the writing, they don't stretch as much as the ones without writing on it. All right, time for the last part of the braided toy. And if you don't have any of your own t-shirts laying around that you want to sacrifice for this project, if you go to a Goodwill store, you can find some for a quarter, up to $1, you know. Really good deals, and it's a great place to shop for that kind of craft material. And I will note that, like I said, I'm using smaller strips for this one. When I use the larger strips, it is a lot easier to grip the material and do the braid. So something to note, if this is a craft you want to do, but you've got like arthritis and you're not sure you're going to be able to pull that much, using larger fabric helps eliminate some of those difficulties. Excellent. All right, and now we're getting to a point where I'm going to want to end the braid. And what we're going to do to accomplish that is, again, it's just tying more knots. These knots are going to be elaborate, which means I'm going to take all the rest of this material and tie probably 3 or 4 different knots into it. There we go. And as you can see, as I do this, we've got right here this little knot that's coming up, and that will allow you as a human, when you're playing with the animal, to grip onto it, and the animal to do that as well. I gotta say, it is such a treat when we've got dogs that come over to visit, and you got one dog pulling on one end and the other dog on the other end. It's just, it's very satisfying. Our dog, Valencia Merle, the dog, she is a chewer, and so she destroys all of her toys very quickly. So having a craft like this around is pretty great. All right, now I want this to be for the cats, so I want to keep these extra little fuzzies off because my cats are really excited if things wish around. But this is basically the end of the toy if you'd like it to end here. It is very effective this way, but there is an added step that we can put in there to put a handle on it. That way you're not getting wet when you're playing tug of war with your little critter. So what we're going to do is, this is where my toe was. See that hole right there? That's where my toe was. So I'm going to keep that open, and I've got, this is the sleeve off of one of the t-shirts. So it'd be like this part right here. And I'm going to find the narrowest part, which is going to be probably where the seam is. And I'm just going to thread it through this hole. It's a tight hole, so it's not going to be the easiest thing to do. So just pulling it through. There's lots of background noises today. I got the windows open and things are happening. All right. Like I said, it's kind of tough to get through. All right, so if you see, I've got this going on both ends. So what I want to do is just take this end, and I'm just going to stick it in here. And then I'm going to pull. Hey, look at that. Now I've got a rope toy where it's all at the end, durable in the middle, and I've got my own handle over here so that at all times I can be in control of the toy, and I can keep my hands dry from, you know, the slobber toy. And if you want to get an idea of the length, I mean, it's up past my knee. So if you've got issues with bending over and you want to play with your little critter, adding this extra handle gives you probably a good, what, 6 inches of space where you don't have to bend down in order to enjoy playtime with your furry little friend. So check it out. Before you throw away those t-shirts or donate them to Goodwill, think about chopping them up and turning them into rope toys for your four-legged friends. To see more tutorials from Functional Rustic, go to functionalrustic.com.